The alarming truth about workplace safety is right there in the numbers. The numbers don't lie. Every 15 seconds, somewhere in the world, a worker loses their life because of a workplace-related incident or disease. That's not a typo. That's the reality. 6,000 people, every single day, don't make it home from work. And for every one of those deaths, there are dozens, sometimes hundreds more who suffer life-changing injuries or debilitating occupational illnesses. The numbers are staggering, the ripple effect even more so. Behind each one is a story, a family impacted, a future cut short, a community left asking what could have been done. But here's the question, are we paying attention? This isn't just a global problem. It's happening in our cities, our communities, our industries, regardless of sector, regardless of size. From towering construction sites to quiet offices, from warehouses to hospitals, the risks are real. And while most people think of safety as rules and regulations, checklists and procedures, it's more than that. It's about culture, awareness, proactive decisions, but most of all, understanding the why behind it all. And that's what today's video is about. We're gonna dig deep into the statistics. Not to scare you, but to ground us in truth. Because when we look at the data, not just glance, but really look, we begin to see patterns. We begin to see what's working, what's failing, and what needs urgent attention. So, let's start at the top. Let's look at the global landscape of workplace safety, and then we'll bring it closer to home. According to the International Labor Organization, the global workforce experiences over 2.78 million work-related deaths each year. Let that sink in for a moment. Nearly 3 million people die every year just for going to work. Alongside that, there are approximately 374 million non-fatal work-related injuries and illnesses. Many of these result in extended absences, permanent disability, or long-term health complications. But, the impact doesn't stop with individuals. The economic burden of these incidents is massive, estimated at a staggering $3 trillion annually. That's money lost through medical expenses, insurance payouts, lost productivity, and legal costs. In many countries, this economic impact is equivalent to 4% or more of their GDP. In other words, the cost of preventable harm at work is not just personal, it's national. Now let's narrow the focus a bit. Let's talk about North America. Let's talk about Canada. In 2022, according to the Association of Workers' Compensation Boards of Canada, there were 993 workplace fatalities. That's an average of almost 3 people per day who left for work and never returned. Some were young, some were nearing retirement, some were on their first shift, others were seasoned veterans in their trade. All were preventable. That same year, there were 277,217 accepted lost time injury claims across the country. That's hundreds of thousands of people injured seriously enough to require time off work, impacted not just physically, but emotionally, financially, and socially. And yet, those are just the cases that were formally reported and accepted. Countless more go unreported, especially in smaller companies, or in sectors where temporary migrant or young workers may not know their rights, or, might fear retaliation. Now shift across the border to the United States. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported 5,486 fatal workplace injuries in 2022. That's more than 15 people a day. To put that in perspective, imagine a small commercial flight going down every other day, and that's just fatalities. There were also over 2.8 million non-fatal workplace injuries and illnesses reported by private industry employers. One trend is clear. Certain industries carry more risk. Year after year, construction, transportation, and warehousing, manufacturing, and agriculture remain among the most hazardous. In the United States, construction alone accounted for nearly 1,000 of those deaths. Falls from heights remain the leading cause, responsible for roughly 1/3 of construction fatalities. Close behind are struck by incidents, electrocutions, and caught in or between accidents, collectively referred to by OSHA as the Fatal Four. But it's not just physical danger that kills. Occupational diseases are a silent threat. Long-term exposure to asbestos, silica dust, toxic chemicals, and noise continues to devastate workers long after their last shift. In Canada, occupational disease fatalities accounted for the majority of total deaths in recent years. These deaths often emerge decades after exposure, making them harder to track, harder to prove, and, honestly, harder to prevent, unless controls are in place early on. Now let's talk about the financial side. According to the National Safety Council, the average cost of a medically consulted work injury in the United States is over $42,000. That includes everything from emergency care and rehabilitation to lost wages and insurance administration. For a fatality, the average cost skyrockets to over $1.3 million. Multiply that by the thousands of incidents occurring annually, and you begin to understand why companies with weak safety cultures struggle to stay afloat. What's even more alarming is how disproportionately these costs hit small businesses. For large corporations, one major claim can be absorbed within a massive budget. But for a small business with under 20 employees, a single serious injury or fatality could mean closure. And despite this risk, studies show that approximately 60% of small businesses in Canada and the US do not have a formal workplace safety program in place. Why? Often it's not due to apathy, it's due to lack of time, resources, or awareness. Let's dig deeper into the types of injuries happening on the job. According to WorkSafe BC and OSHA data, musculoskeletal injuries remain among the most common, especially in jobs that require repetitive motion, awkward postures, or heavy lifting. These injuries might not seem serious at first, but they add up, creating chronic pain, reduced mobility, and early retirement from the workforce. They account for roughly 35% of all lost time claims in many sectors. Slips, trips, and falls consistently rank in the top 3 causes of injury across nearly every industry. It's not just falls from heights, though those are certainly deadly. It's falls from ladders, tripping over cords, slipping on spills in retail stores, or falling down poorly maintained stairwells. Simple things that could often be prevented with routine inspection and basic housekeeping. Then there's workplace violence. This is an area that doesn't always get the spotlight it deserves, but the numbers demand attention, particularly in healthcare. Nurses, emergency room staff, long-term care workers, and paramedics are at significantly higher risk. In fact, healthcare workers are 4 times more likely to be injured due to violence on the job than any other profession. And yet, many facilities don't provide adequate training in de-escalation, or even report these events through formal channels. Fatigue is another invisible hazard. Research shows that fatigue impairs judgment, reaction time, and motor skills in ways similar to alcohol. Working more than 12 hours a day increases the risk of injury by 37%. Night shifts, back-to-back shifts, or long commutes only add to the danger. Some of the most catastrophic workplace disasters in history, Chernobyl, the Exxon Valdez oil spill, and even the Challenger explosion, have been partially attributed to fatigue-related decision-making failures. But here's the part that often gets overlooked: prevention works. According to data from Safe Work Australia, companies that implement proactive health and safety programs see injury reductions between 30 and 40%. And it's not just about fewer injuries. It's also about better morale, higher productivity, and stronger retention. Workers who feel safe are more engaged. Supervisors who prioritize safety build trust. And leadership that embraces a safety culture fosters innovation, not just compliance. Studies from the American Society of Safety Professionals show that for every $1 invested in a safety program, companies see a return of $4 to $6. That's not just feel-good math, that's good business. Lower premiums, fewer disruptions, less downtime, and reduced turnover all contribute to a stronger bottom line. Think about this. If someone handed you a business investment that guaranteed a 400% return, you'd take it in a heartbeat. Yet every year, companies pass on that opportunity by underfunding or ignoring safety. Now let's bring it back to you. Your role, your workplace. Are you confident that your team is doing enough to prevent incidents? Do your workers know what to do in an emergency? Is there a plan in place to investigate and learn from near misses? Are hazards identified and controlled before someone gets hurt? If the answer is no, or even, I'm not sure, then this is the moment to act. Start small if you have to. Start with a walk around, a safety meeting, maybe just a conversation. But don't wait for the numbers to catch up to you, because behind every statistic is a person, someone with plans, a family, a life. So, what can you do today to prevent becoming part of tomorrow's data? That's where we want to leave you, empowered, not overwhelmed. Safety isn't a burden, it's a responsibility. It's a leadership trait. It's a culture you can create, protect, and grow. If this video sparked something in you, leave us a comment. Share a story from your workplace. Let others learn from it. And if you want to stay informed, inspired, and involved, hit that subscribe button. Because we're building a community of people who don't just clock in and clock out. We show up, we speak up, and we work smart. Together, let's change the numbers.